For decades, the standard second language writing classroom operated on a simple premise. Writing is an artifact to be judged. Students analyze a model text, imitated structure, and submit a final draft. The instructor evaluates it purely on grammatical accuracy and adherence to form. This approach prioritizes the finished text over the thoughts of the writer. Applied linguistics research shows that treating writing as an isolated performance penalizes the natural errors that occur during language acquisition. It demands a finished product without teaching the mental steps required to build it. To address this gap, instructors are moving the focus from the final submission to the individual steps of the writing workflow. This requires the instructor to step back from the role of an end-stage judge. Instead, they must design a classroom where writing is treated as an active progression of drafting, feedback, and revision. This model relies on three specific mechanisms. The first is the process approach, which shifts the focus toward how a text is actively composed. The second mechanism is peer response. By introducing a real reader other than the teacher, students are forced to write for clarity and navigate the needs of an audience. The third is collaborative writing, a high-order application where peers move beyond exchanging feedback to engage in joint authorship of a single text. These three pillars function as the primary engines for language acquisition, supported by decades of pedagogical research. When combined, these elements create an integrated environment that increases student fluency, accuracy, and long-term autonomy. The foundation of this system is the process approach. According to Hedges' framework, writing is an act of thinking and discovery, a strategy used to manage the gradual development of a text. The objective is developing fluency. In this context, fluency means the internal capability to generate ideas and express meaning freely, without the immediate paralysis that comes from worrying about grammatical perfection. This workflow begins with two distinct stages. The cycle starts at pre-writing, where students set goals and brainstorm. This flows directly into drafting, where the objective is to get raw ideas down without stopping to correct errors. The cycle then expands. The writer moves to the revising node to make substantive, global changes to the content, and finally to editing for surface-level local corrections. These internal arrows represent a recursive process. Writers do not move in a straight line from step A to step B. They constantly loop back to refine earlier stages as their ideas develop. Because the text is always evolving, the instructor's role changes. Rather than waiting at the finish line to issue a grade, the teacher acts as a coach embedded directly within the composing stages. Treating writing as a series of teachable practice stages naturally breaks down the cognitive load, allowing both meaning and accuracy to develop over time. Within this recursive cycle, the critical bridge between drafting and revising is peer response. While some might view peer review as a way to reduce teacher workload, the research suggests it is a cognitive necessity for the learner. Peer response serves several distinct functions. First, it builds audience awareness, forcing the author to prioritize clarity over assumption. Second, it creates collaborative scaffolding, where a more capable peer supports one who is still developing. The network builds further. It creates structured learner interaction, requiring students to articulate their reasoning. It also drives revision facilitation, promoting deep text changes that rival teacher feedback in efficacy. Finally, a ring encloses the entire system. This represents overall skill improvement. Sustained engagement in this feedback loop improves long-term language proficiency beyond the single essay being reviewed. Technology-enhanced tools, like digital feedback platforms and blogs, have been empirically shown to amplify these global revision benefits even further. Structured peer response takes an isolated performance written for an evaluator and turns it into an authentic act of communication. Once students are exchanging drafts, instructors face attention in second language writing. Should reviewers focus on global areas, like content and organization, or local areas, like grammar and mechanics? In 1996, researcher John Truscott published a foundational critique arguing that comprehensive blanket grammar correction on student drafts causes cognitive overload and harms writers. Evidence shows that prioritizing global meaning and macrostructure in early drafts yields much deeper revisions.
When students discuss content, they reinforce the idea of writing as discovery. A 2023 review by Mao and colleagues provides vital nuance. While correcting every single error is ineffective, providing explicit, highly focused correction on a few pre-taught grammatical structures yields significant results. This leads to a clear classroom rule. On the left side of this matrix, early drafts are linked to global feedback. Instructors train students to read for whole paragraph meaning first. The right side shows the shift. Only in later drafts does the focus move to targeted local feedback, where peers might circle a single specific verb tense or preposition. Explicitly separating global meaning from local editing prevents cognitive overload and drives linguistic accuracy over time. The highest order application of these principles is collaborative writing. This moves beyond feedback. Instead of writing independently, co-authors jointly plan and jointly draft and negotiate a single text together in real time. The theoretical engine for this is Vygotskian sociocultural theory. When two individual learners work together, they form an overlapping space known as the zone of proximal development. Inside this shared space, peers scaffold each other's cognitive processes. Through dialogue, they solve linguistic and rhetorical problems that neither could resolve alone. This process leverages the interaction hypothesis, where the active, vocal negotiation of meaning directly drives language acquisition. This negotiation generates language-related episodes. These are the micro-moments when co-authors stop to debate a vocabulary choice or a grammatical structure before typing it out. Empirical evidence proving the value of this joint production is clear. Palm's 2021 study showed significantly higher writing fluency and accuracy compared to individual students working under the same conditions. Collaborative writing takes the hidden cognitive steps of the writing process and makes them visible and audible. Adopting these theories requires a shift in syllabus design. The majority of in-class time is dedicated to active, collaborative tasks. Individual, isolated writing is then reserved for homework. The independent assignment acts as a consolidation phase for the specific skills negotiated during class. Instructors frequently worry that collaborative work allows weaker students to hide behind stronger ones. The data addresses this concern. As this chart illustrates, the cognitive benefits gained during collaborative performance directly elevate that student's individual performance on subsequent isolated writing tasks. By the end of this process, the classroom functions as an ecosystem where the instructor circulates among actively debating writing teams rather than grading in an isolated office. To execute this effectively, instructors must follow specific guidelines. First, assign clear, rotating roles within the groups, such as idea generator, scribe, and editor, to ensure equitable participation. Second, mandate a talk-before-text approach. As illustrated here, every major structural decision must be discussed out loud before a single word is typed. Third, always provide structured prompts to guide the planning phase, and require pairs to complete a brief metacognitive reflection after the task is submitted. The pedagogy follows a distinct sequence: establish a process orientation, guide structured peer response, and elevate to collaborative co-authorship. By engineering classrooms as collaborative environments, instructors align their daily practice directly with the proven science